Is it right? It was not. So we will have half of the session recorded. I'm sorry, apologize to all. Sorry for that. But at least, thank you, Michael. We will have the rest recorded.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for that.
Thank you very much. The last page. The last page, to me, I will give you an example. Damascus, Syria went through a last page and started a new beginning. So to me, in my understanding, or when I close my eyes, the last page becomes history. And this history is very good going forward. We learn from, history teaches us a lot. And when I close my eyes, I try to picture the last page of, I'm a fan of politics. I try to picture the last page of Donald Trump. And I think he has less than 4 years to go. And these are his last pages. And I also pray to see the last pages of the president of my country, that is Yoweri Museveni. And I hope the last page comes in a good way, without any shedding of blood. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you very much. And I apologize, all of you. I'm sorry that I didn't start it recording immediately at the beginning, but it happened. I hope it was the last time, but it happened. So it's quite interesting. I will tell you how I came to the last page, because you don't know probably that it was Bill McLean, who I will meet in 3 hours from now, and we are speaking the same topic. He published a very important document on the very last day of March, and I asked him to do so, and it's called The Last Page. In his last page, and I will share with all of you, I will share after this document, okay, because it is very important. I asked him to do so because he said, Michael, there should be on every user manual, on every product, every service, every building, there should be an additionally last page edit, which says after the product or service or material, or even a human being, serve his original purpose, there should be written, and the next step is this. For example, for a building, for a warehouse, it can become a school, as one of the examples. So, and this is missing. The only sign which we have on a product is the recycling sign. But recycling means wasting. Industry 5.0 means waste prevention. So the last page, it costs almost nothing except of very important thing, the thought, the idea, what I will do next. And that's so important. He is a writer, so he has written 2 pages explaining it so well. And at the end, there is a definition, which is 2-liner generally, a very simple, understandable message. And because it's official, it was on February 28th. So from that day, it exists the last page, which for me have a very special meaning from the day. But Charito, coming back to you, you explain it so well, and I have a very special question. I will try to ask the same question all of you. Do you remember any specific last page, or do you remember more the first page?
Wow, I love that. So deep. Yeah. Okay. Michael, the way I see it is like this. When you read a book, usually uh, the first page and the last page don't really matter because what is being talked about is in between from those pages, the first and the last. So when I read a book, I could not remember any last page or first page, but I knew what was being talked about in that book. So it's a story. When you say a last page, if I'm referring to the physical book, then the last page could be a goodbye, thanking everybody or. So the next part of that, when you close the book, then you are into what's next. If that book tells you something like you have to learn from it, then the next best part, for a book from the first page to the last is the reaction. Does it serve the purpose? I mean, if I'm asked to do something after closing the book, after reading the last page, will I be doing what is being asked? What is within that book? So if you ask me if I remember, usually the first part is more on attracting us, right? It's the preface, whatever, introduction. And then the last page, usually, oh, if I'm going literal about this, it's only the end. It's something like superimposing what was said about, which is the climax of the story. It's almost near the end, but the last page does not necessarily brings it with it, right? If you see what I mean. So whether I remember the first or a last page, I would say not really. I remember the book, the whole of it, and what is it being asked or being talked about it. So back to you.
Thank you very much. It was so well explained. Leslie, you are an author yourself. So is it the first page or the last page which is closer to your heart?
Well, Michael, I'm in the midst of it right now. So, briefly, the last episode of my science fiction and award winning in literature and fiction, science fiction love story. The first page of the second book, which I'm writing right now, the first book came out last summer, is the last episode of the first book. So for me, it was the last page that opened up a world of visualization to more love, to more values and virtues. That's what the possibility of Arata is. And then 2 days ago, a baby was born in between the first and second book. And that is the audio book that I read in a studio that is on Audible. It birthed 2 days ago. So now, as people prepare for the second book, they can listen to a 90-minute reading by me and catch up on everything. But I put the last episode in the beginning of the second book so that people will be up to date. And if they do nothing, they will be able to begin with the end. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
That's so beautiful, especially as you name the child of yours, the audiobook. That's so beautiful. Nupur, you just finished, let's call it a meeting, Industry 5.0 meeting with a very famous company. Do you feel like it was the first page or the last page?
It is both way, Michael, what I could say, because it is a fast page in a term that it's a new consulting idea for them which they have perhaps not done. but it is a last page for the older concept that they were lingering to. So in the concept, when I was conversing with them, what I understood from them, they have not done this consulting before, right? So they're just beginning. So it's the first page for their new beginning of the concept to place globally in front of their clients, because they're doing something very interesting with some of even clothes makers, right? Where the opportunities are huge for this industry 5.0 recycling of products. And so I find it is practically a first page for them to start consulting around. However, they need to close or they need to find a chapter. They are constantly pushing and consulting to begin in line, because not that they have always promoted waste management, not that they have always promoted green energy or greener environment. So this is how I see it. So, but anyway, overall, if I just rate it, it is to them to begin with, from the all previous learning and the concept they have shared. They need to be a bit careful while they will be building on the last pages of all their very previous concepts. So this is how I see
Thank
as per
you.
today's conversation.
Thank you very much, because it is right now a very fresh feeling, because you have the meeting today in the morning. So it's great that we have this response. Tracy, let me ask you the same question I asked Charito. Do you remember more the first or the last page?
To me, I do remember the ending more than the beginning. The beginning brings the potential, the hope, but the ending, I'm talking about is figuratively. It could be the ending, a few pages, the ending chapter brings the conclusion, brings the final word. Oftentimes, I memorize more about the ending. The beginning, I think, it could be, by me, easily forgotten. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Ussi, I know that you become a journalist, an Industry 5.0 journalist, which is great. But if I do not speak about the last page, but about the last and first sentence, what is more convenient for you to write the first, so the intro, or the last words of your article?
All right. You can repeat it, please.
Yes. If it's easier for you to write the first line in a new article or the last one?
The last one is easier. The first one. I say this first one.
Okay.
The last page is not the end. It is the start of something new. In a life we face many. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, your connection is dropping, so we are not hearing all the sentences, but I think we got the image. Shah, just to tell to everyone, we have 7 minutes left. So, Shah, how this today's last page, how it resonates with you?
It is now resonate with me. Last page as a industry 5.0 in Bangladesh, how to move forward. This is the last page, and I think it is the next one. New beginning.
That's great.
Thank you, Michael.
So happy to hear. Michael, the same for you. So what is it? Because in your life begin a new chapter just recently. So do you see it as the first or as the last page or the next page?
Thank you, Michael. I don't think there's a last page yet. Until we get there, the last page to me is just the beginning of, everything I do. So I don't see a last page anywhere nearby. And yes, that's me. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And Dr. Ash, today's ending word, we have 5 minutes 30 left, will be there for you. Do you see your students in your institute? Do you see them at the beginning more as the first or as the last page, which you just turn into the first one called Education and Life?
Well, Michael, frankly, at the very beginning of any class that I start in any university or any training institution, and even in my own, I start off with writing 3 words on the whiteboard, which is good health, happiness, and prosperity. That's what they must look for in life. And then I look up and I see the students. I size them up as to who may be smiling and who may be, frowning or whatever. I can read faces quickly. But then, like, somehow, as the semester goes on, you gradually understand everybody personally, the way they write in their exam papers or whatever. But the ending for me is the last page. And that is when all the smiles are there for me. And that smile that I've done well. That is the only satisfaction for me in life, that you see that I have taught something and I've taught it well. That's all I can say, Mike. Thank you very much.
That's so wonderful to end. I have to inform you, next week, we will not have the power of touch. I will be in train and it will be not convenient because I'm going to a conference and unfortunately I cannot pick up the train in other time than this one. So it will not take place next week, but let's meet in 14 days. And, it is so interesting. Especially you remember the books which are part of a series and you end up doing one and you say, how it can end up at this moment, so waiting so urgently for the next book to appear. But it is in our life the same. Every single time. I was yesterday in a factory, 36,000 square meters. They are producing fabric, a special fabric for automotive mainly. And all the time I walk through the factory and so on, and we find out a lot of things to improve. And the great part is that what's for them the end, they call it waste. I open their eyes and they see the beginning. And these are people who work there every single day for decades and still never saw it in this new way. And this is why I love so your explanations, your image of not being sad when I see the last page coming, because you see the new page. But we have to open the eyes to many, because still many things, last page, that's the end. But it's not. And let us help all together. I do believe that even this recording will help. And as I said, it's really great to meet every single time, every single Wednesday. And when we are at the end, I am not sad at all. In fact, when we ending, I said, wow, the next one will be even better. And I am, from the very first second after we end, I'm looking forward to the next one, to the term which I will introduce and to your answers. And it's so, so wonderful. So please have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, be human, and welcome every last page, understanding that this is the new page which will come and make our lives even more interesting every single moment. So enjoy your day, enjoy the following 14 days, and I see you in 14 days' time. Bye-bye to all, and as I said, stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Good
you.
morning.
Thank you, Michael.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.